What's going on, nerds? Welcome back to Comic Book Nerd Nation, episode 129. Got the whole crew here this week. I'm Fox2. We got Pirate.
Hello.
Topher.
That's what he sounded like when he got on the floor. I was like, Pirate's not pirate, he's a zombie.
And Olaf and Brian.
Hello.
You just always sound
I
like
think
that.
this is probably the most hungover we've ever recorded this podcast. For sure.
That's what happens. That's what happens when we record on a Sunday instead of a Saturday. We
Yeah.
have all day Saturday to drink.
Yeah, that's rough.
Friday we can't start till late.
I think it's funny. This is the first time we started 24 minutes late, and I haven't heard Doug once bitch about it.
No, I didn't even feel like
I
doing
think
this.
he's all right with it.
He's like, I don't need. I'm too hungover to bitch about this. Right now.
Yeah. If it wasn't for the fact that we have some really exciting stuff to talk about, I probably would have just canceled it. I'm not going to lie, I'm so hungover.
Somebody get a Brazilian wax we need to talk about? Because that's exciting.
Personal wax.
That-
What?
Brazilian wax.
Brazilian wax.
Oh,
I think he's
Brazilian
saying that he
wax.
put hot wax on his junk.
Did you have somebody wax your butthole? Is that what you're saying?
No, I bleached my butthole.
You bleach your butthole.
Is that what do they
I
call
bet that
that?
burns like fucking hot fire.
I wouldn't even try it.
Oh,
Imagine you fart and you get the bleach in the person's eyes.
Oh god. So is it like
It's
A
like
mixture
a wet acidic fart of death.
it's like a mixture of pink eye and acid burn?
Sprays
Chemical burn
everywhere.
and Pink eye. Oh god.
And we'll leave everybody on that note. Welcome. Thank you for coming this
Yeah.
week.
Oh god. I did not expect my day to start out like this.
Wouldn't the bleach kill the bacteria though? I mean, like, wouldn't
Ooh, that's a good point.
would you get pink eye, or would the bleach kind of?
Well, it depends. If it's a
It's
wet
the chicken
fart,
and the
then
egg, my
like the
friend,
bleach
chicken and
might
the egg.
come out first, then the
Yeah, what's coming out?
Okay,
first?
because they're not really
Chemicals and
mixed.
bleach.
You spray the bleach out of the way, and then it's like a cloud of follow up.
Oh god,
I'm pretty sure it's a safe bet that
it's the double
Like
you
you're
hammer.
might
going-
not get pink eye, but you might be blind in one eye.
It's like you're going after the xenomorph in Alien.
All right. On that note, we'll talk about
So-
something not related to a butthole or bleach. Let's talk about Civil War. So, spoiler alert: there's going to be a ton of spoilers here. We're going to talk about this movie pretty in depth. I feel like this is one of the few topics that we're going to be discussing this week. So, if you haven't seen it yet, pause this, go see it, and then come back. If you don't like that,
Or don't see it,
then tough
and
shit.
then just listen to it.
Or
Doesn't
just
matter.
listen to us talk about it.
Yeah, let's go see it anyway after.
Overall opinions. Let's start there before we start diving in. Out of 10, how would you rate this film, Brian?
9.5, 10.
Okay. Topher?
8.5.
All right. Pirate?
I'm gonna say a 9.
I'm going to go 8.5 also. Where does this rank for you guys as far as favorite Marvel films? Is this does this make like top spot? Does it make top 3?
Definitely not top spot for me, but I would say, shit. I don't know about top 3 either, but definitely top 5, maybe top 3. I guess I can give it in top 3.
Okay. All right. What about you, Topher? You look really perplexed.
Yeah, I've been trying to figure this out ever since I watched it, and I just don't know. I think last time I gave my top 4, I think it was Civil War, or top 3 was Civil War, Avengers, Guardians of the Galaxy. I want to
Civil War
say,
is
or
the
not?
most
Excuse me,
honest.
Winter Soldier, Avengers, first one, and then Guardians of the Galaxy, and it's definitely in the same tier as those 3. I just don't know where it fits in. There were so many good things about it. I loved this movie, yet I can't help feeling like they still left something on the table, you know, and like that's why I'm having trouble placing it. Like, I'm gonna need
Yeah,
to
but
watch it a couple more times before I can really see where it place is cemented. But like,
do you feel
it's definitely a top tier Marvel movie.
What
do you
about
feel they always leave something on the table and answer it later on?
No, I don't mean they left things unanswered or they left some things hanging. I just feel like,
They left
you know, like
something
it
out
was
that they could have put in.
like it wasn't as good as it could have been, and I can't put my finger on what they could have done differently. But like I felt myself wanting like thinking that was really damn good, but yet I can't help feel like it could have been even better.
yeah? What about you, Brian?
What was in my top three? I think my top three was like Winter Soldier, Avengers, and Guardians. I think I replaced this with Winter Soldier. I think the Russo brothers did up what they did in Winter Soldier in this movie.
All right. For me, I don't think this one. I like the movie overall, but I don't think that it's going to be in my top three. Top five probably. Good, really good movie, but definitely didn't crack the top three for me. I actually we'll get into it, but I kind of agree with Topher. There, as many good points as there was. I just didn't think it was as good as it could have been, and it just I don't know. There were some aspects I didn't really care for, but
I will say this though, I'm standing by what I said earlier, or I think maybe earlier this year or last year. I can't remember. When I said Deadpool is going to be the best comic book movie out of 2016, I still feel that Deadpool's the best comic movie so far out of
Oh yeah,
2016.
I agree.
Yeah, I would agree. I would agree with that. I don't think this is better than Deadpool. Deadpool was
No.
way more fun to watch.
It was a better ride altogether.
Yeah.
And the only thing left now is Suicide Squad and Doctor Strange, right?
It's a bit hard. It's a bit hard to compare because, excuse me, this movie is a tragedy. You know, like
So is
in terms of the different styles of me, Deadpool was a comedy.
It's about heartbreak and reclaiming your lost love.
Deadpool was a dark comedy. You just wanted to laugh
Deadpool
at
is
all his
definitely a
tragedy.
comedy. Like Civil War was a tragedy, and it was done very well. But the problem with tragedies is they can be great, you know, literary works or whatnot, but you don't come away from them with the same feeling of the same fun factor as you do from a comedy or you know a superhero team up movie. You know, like Avengers was not necessarily the best movie in you know classically written sense. You know, it's not going to go down in history as a you know as a classic you know pinnacle of cinema, but it was just fun as shit to watch. Civil War was very well written and is a probably a better movie from a classical standpoint in terms of you know a tragic script, but you know you don't come away from it thinking, oh man, that was awesome. You know, it's kind of like it's a little more heady. You know, it's a little more you know a little more solemn walking away from it, and you don't necessarily have quite the fun factor.
I feel 50 years from now, Deadpool will be added to the like Congress Hall of Movies, whatever, as an American classic.
It's all a movie.
I
You heard it first.
There was-
I wouldn't be surprised if it is.
There was
Have you
so
seen
much-
what's recently been added? Deadpool's probably going to be added in 50 years.
there was so much about Civil War that I really enjoyed, but there were, for me, things that I just couldn't get past. Really, I still didn't like Spider-Man's outfit.
I thought his
colors
outfit
were-
was better.
The colors
Yeah.
looked a little better than they did originally in that first trailer. It still looked to me super CGI'd, and I still don't really. I didn't really get the whole mechanical eye thing. it didn't bother me in the film until the point where he pulls up his mask like halfway, and you can tell like that the mask is just like some fucking flimsy little like fabric or whatever, and it just doesn't. I don't know. It just didn't really make sense. Like that you would have a fabric mask with like metal mechanical eyelids or whatever. Like it just didn't. I don't know. It just didn't kind of add up to me, and that felt cheap almost. I don't know.
That one didn't really take me out of the movie. I mean, I thought his costume was okay. Like comparing it after the fact to ones from Amazing Spider-Man or even the Tobey Maguire one, like I think their costumes were a little cooler, but they were also more the focal point. Like I'm hoping that maybe this is just like a first attempt kind of thing. I mean, look at Captain America's costumes. They've been different in every single movie that he's been in so far.
Condom Head in Avengers.
So I'm hoping that it sees some evolution and we get some variation in the spider suit over the next couple movies. In which case, I will be fine with what they did in this one.
Yeah. I guess if that's a jumping off point, that might not be a bad thing, but I don't know. There was that, and then for me, the story was better than I was expecting, but at the same time, like the title almost doesn't make sense. Like Civil War, there was nothing war about this. Like it wasn't. Like, it was basically a small fight between a few friends. Like,
yeah, the scale wasn't war. Yeah, I see what you're saying. The scale wasn't... Like, in the comics, it's a war. It's like every superhero... Each sides are like... There's tons of people for each side, and it's just like there were large battles in the comic. This wasn't really
there's
a war.
Yeah,
there's definitely teams...
Yeah, this was my biggest concern from the jump, was that the scale was going to be so off that it just doesn't fit. It just does, and it doesn't. It really doesn't. I don't think they hit the nail on the head at all with the scale or the gravity of it to call it Civil War. They could have called it any number of other titles in order to kind of better describe. I mean, it was more like a scuffle as far as the scale goes. I mean, nobody died. Nobody even really got seriously injured.
War Machine got injured.
War Machine got hurt pretty bad, but it just, I don't know. Like when you think of war, you don't think of like 5-on-5. You know what I mean? Like that's just not. That's like
that's not a Civil War. That's a team deathmatch.
Right. That's not. I mean, that's just not nearly as massive as it should have been. And I'm not necessarily saying that they needed to have like a bunch of like a whole bunch more established characters and heroes and things like that. But I do think that they should have had more like global impact or something. It should have been more encompassing, more. It just the gravity wasn't there. Like there really just, it didn't feel like there was much impact from the whole thing at all. Like not much effect.
Yeah,
I kind of get that.
I mean, we won't even see the effect of another thing is we won't see the effect of the movie because the next movie is with Doctor Strange. Well, I mean, with them, they're obviously on two different sides right now, and Cap and his side are on the run. But we won't see anything about that because next is Doctor Strange, which won't dive into that. And then everything else goes to
gonna be nothing.
Asgard and Guardians of the in space, so we won't really see what's going on
That's
Earth.
That's what I'm saying. I don't think that they're ever going to really follow up with it because there is no lasting impact, really.
Well, I mean,
it would be good if
we'll see the impact. We'll
And
see the impact come Infinity War because.
Yeah, but see, all they're going to do is there's going to be some giant like cataclysmic type of event, and the people that are pushing for the registration are gonna be like, oh, we're sorry, we realize we do need you, so let's all come together, we'll drop our side of it, and that'll be the end of it. And it's like, what the fuck did we do this for?
Cap
what would be cool?
Iron Man a flip phone. Like, they still sell flip phones.
Yeah.
What would be cool is if they had a comic series that spun out of this that was like, you know, little updates on what was going on and like showing the aftermath and how they're, you know, how the schism between them has kind of affected things.
Again, I don't think there really is much aftermath. I mean, it would be like a 3-page comic, and then you'd run out of material. 7 frames, and you'd be like, I wonder what happened next. Nothing. Because there was no impact on anyone, really. Like, I mean, you can run down the list. Like, so Captain America is the one character that probably really had any kind of impact. He's like on the run or whatever. What's the impact for Black Widow? Not a damn thing. You've got Jeremy Renner's character.
That's not entirely true, because Black Widow basically turned on Black Panther at one point, and so she's not. You know, there could be
like, oh, he'll be coming for you.
I mean,
with Ross at the end of the movie.
Yeah, and I guess that's really the only spot that we're going to probably see any kind of fallout or remnants of this storyline is going to be in the Black Panther movie.
More or less. I think that's going to be all in, like, Africa, so I don't think we'll really see anything.
So it's going to be in Wakanda. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Wakanda is in Africa?
Yeah. But
thank you very much.
Thing. I don't understand why they used Thunderbolt Ross for that role instead of like some new character.
Yeah, like where was the when they're showing clips of World Destruction? Where's the one of Abomination running loose in the streets?
Which is his.
They were like, somebody was probably like, we should definitely use that, and then they probably looked at it. And
shit!
Like,
How'd that get in
we
there?
should definitely not put that in this movie. They would have to spend so much time like fixing the CGI that they might as well do it over.
I also didn't like Zemo's character that much. I thought they made him like a little like baby.
Yeah, I didn't like Zemo.
I thought he was going to be better than what he was.
Did anybody see the concept art where he's in? It's a concept art of a costume, kind of like a nod towards his comic book costume. He has the Bakalov mask, but he's wearing a trench coat type thing. If they had him in that, he would have looked at least better.
So he had a Greek dessert pastry on his face.
What is it called?
What kind of mask
like
did he have again?
Baklava? What is it called?
Balaclava?
Balaclava?
Whatever. Baklava, balaclava. They both sound.
He had this delicious pastry on his face. It was an amazing piece of art. I love the concept. Where they're going with the character.
That's great.
Too busy planning my revenge to clean my face.
You're so quiet. You need to speak the fuck up into that microphone.
I am. I don't know what the fuck.
Well, you need
to
not have a broken microphone.
My two biggest complaints about the movie were one, outside the movie, the trailer. The trailers were good, but my biggest problem was that whole, he's my friend, Tony, and so was I. Like, that's a great it's a great moment in the movie, and it's like the climax at the very fucking end, and they show it in the damn trailer, and you're watching the movie, and like I had that in my head the whole time, and I expected it to happen sooner, and it didn't. And then it looks like they make up, and it's like, fuck, what the hell happens now that that's gonna tear them back apart again? And it's like you could see it coming because you had the trailer show that something else big happens, and they start fighting again, and it's like that would have been a much better moment if the trailer hadn't shown it. And it's like I still would have been excited for this movie if they had shown scenes in the trailer from only the first 20 minutes of the movie.
Yeah.
You know, so like I don't understand why. Like Batman v Superman did the same fucking thing where they gave away just so much shit about the movie, like the Wonder Woman reveal in that one, you know? And it's like if trailers would stop doing that and just make you like give you a teaser about the beginning of the movie so that you want to see it instead of showing highlights from the fucking battle at the very goddamn end, like movies would be a lot more enjoyable, I feel like.
You mean they need to do the Star Wars thing? Because they had it down pat.
Star Wars did it absolutely right, you know, like you give glimpses of early scenes in the movie and maybe a couple little action, you know, quick scenes that don't really clue you in as to where it's happening, who's in it, you know, what the sides are, what the stakes are, who's involved, so that you kind of just see that there's stuff going on and you want to go put context to it. Like these trailers for the comic book movies keep having all the context in the trailer, and then you go in knowing exactly what's going to happen, and it's frustrating. You know, like it takes the enjoyment out of the movie when you feel like you've seen what's going to happen already and you know where it's going, and you can't just sit along for the ride and enjoy it. You know, and my other complaint was that you know, like we were saying before about how it went in the comics, you know, obviously there the teams are a lot bigger. You know, you actually have, you know, practical armies on either side.
Yeah,
it's a lot of people. It's you know, little skirmishes and battles here and there over a large territory, you know, over a long period of time. So like, you know, you can actually map the progress and see where things are going, and you know, like there's a way different scale to it, and obviously, you know, you don't have that when you have one fight in a parking lot at the airport, you know, which I still thought was a great fight, and they handled very well. And I'll get to one of my best points of praise about the movie here in a minute, but like the other thing, the event in the comics that started it off. The New Warriors confronting, you know, Nitro in Stamford, Connecticut, and him blowing up, and you know, right next to a school and killing like 500 children. You know, like
60.
That was fucking what?
It was 600 people, 60 children.
Oh, okay, whatever. 600 people, 50 children. Fine.
I reread it.
Yeah. You know, killing a bunch of kids and that many people, like that was a big event, and that was like an oh shit moment. Like now I see where all this is, you know, spinning out of. Crossbones in a bubble and threw him up into the air, and there was a little bit of an explosion and some damage to a building. Like I didn't know when that happened that like they had to tell us after the fact that a bunch of people died and that it was horrible, and you know, this is a big international incident and there were people from Wakanda in there and blah 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 blah. And it's like the first rule of writing is show, don't tell.
Talk about writing.
You know, well, okay. The second rule is also
don't
that.
talk about
the third
writing.
rule is show your audience, don't tell them. You know, like don't explain in words what happened. You know, actually show it. Especially in a frickin' movie, you have the chance to show the scale of the destruction and the, you know, the heartache that it caused, you know, people and whatnot. And instead, like, we just get a little small explosion and a chunk out of a building, and then like some people talking on the news about that this was a big problem. It's like I didn't get that sense of gravity from that scene when it happened. It's like after the fact they're like, this was a big deal and this is the catalyst for all these nations being pissed off. I'm like, oh,
You know,
it was? Okay. Well,
I
thank you. You
also-
told me that, but I didn't get that watching it.
You know, I also kind of got the same feeling about that. Like you mentioned, like the way it went in the comic books with Nitro. There was no good that came out of that situation. It was sheerly 100% a negative situation. When they were pitching the whole like legislation thing, and they're showing clips from the other movies, like the Manhattan one. From Avengers, it's like, okay, yeah, yes, a lot of stuff got destroyed, but we saved the world. Like,
Right.
like, if we didn't do what we did, we wouldn't be having this conversation because everyone would be dead. And so it's like, you know, and then they talk about the one from Age of Ultron. Like, okay, so a couple people died, yes, but a vast majority were taken off of the floating city. Safe,
right. What
like safe.
Ultron's the one who did that. If they're not there, then
right, they would have all died. So, like
in the comics, the New Warriors provoking Nitro, you know, was somewhat unnecessary.
Exactly,
and,
there was
you know,
there was no
flashy,
inherent positive. Right,
it was a reckless, flashy show just for the sake of, you know, like, we have powers, let's flaunt them, kind of thing.
Yes,
You know, and I get that
made
there
more
are
sense.
There's no throwaway character in the movie cinematic universe, though, that they can do that to and have them.
I mean, why couldn't they?
Make up a new one or use one of the existing ones.
Just use any pulse and pull.
Honestly, the Vision would have been a good one because he's, you know, not really human and still trying to figure out things in the world, and, you know, like, him doing something because he doesn't understand human customs or something yet, you know, and, like, using his powers in just a gross display where they were super not necessary, like, would have maybe been a better event, you know, because it wasn't the good guys doing what they needed to prevent more destruction from a bad guy, rather than a good guy using their powers recklessly when they weren't needed and causing destruction.
Yeah, like, we know you saved the world.
Right,
but we need to put your powers in check.
And so I found myself at times in the movie asking whether I really agreed with Cap or not. You know, like, in the comics, I very much agreed with Cap's side, and in the movie, it's kind of like, so really they want you know, like, in the comics, it was all about revealing your secret identities.
Yeah.
You know, and the harm it would bring to the people around you, and, you know, if everybody knew who you are, they could all take it out on your family and shit, you know, and that was a serious deal. And you even had, you know, Peter Parker revealing himself and then Aunt May getting killed because of it. You know, like, they showed the repercussions to the superheroes of what would happen if they went through with this. Mm-hmm. And I know that they were coming after Bucky, but, you know, it's like, the idea is all they want you to do, instead of just being a private U.S. team, is to be, you know, determine your actions, you know, have some accountability to the UN. That kind of seems like a pretty good arrangement, really. Like, you know, like, it's kind of hard to argue against that.
Yeah, I don't know. There was definitely, obviously, some story issues. Another qualm that I had with it was the other Winter Soldiers. Like, they built it up like oh my god, like, and I was like, oh shit, this is gonna be awesome. Like, they're gonna have to come together and fight like 5 fucking Winter Soldiers.
Yeah,
and then they're all just fucking dead. Like, what? Like, you know, like, I just don't. I mean, I get where the story went, and he was trying to drive a spike between Iron Man and Captain America, but at the same time, it's just like, man, the story almost would have been better had they had they went through with the Winter Soldiers thing.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. That's why, like, I enjoyed it. I really liked the movie, you know, and we should probably talk about some of the stuff we really liked about it, just so this isn't all negative. But, you know, that's why I just couldn't help feeling like they left something on the table. So one thing that I really enjoyed about it, though, like, Giant Man, I thought was done super well. That was fucking great. Like, because I kind of knew it was going to happen before going into the movie, but I was really worried that you know, it's one thing to show somebody shrinking down because you can do all this cool scale stuff and like little things moving around quickly, like, you know, is cool and fun to watch. Making something huge sometimes just looks super awkward, and I was worried that, you know, they weren't going to be able to pull it off very well. But I thought it was great. Like they did it really well, and you had Giant Man in the middle of this battle, and it looked plausible, you know, within the realm of superpowers. You know, it didn't look ridiculous, and I really thought they were going to have a hard time not making it ridiculous, but they managed to do it. And then the whole fucking Spider-Man AT-AT reference.
Oh
Did
yeah.
anybody
that
see
was
that
pretty
old
good.
movie?
I
Empire
fucking
Strikes
loved
Back?
it. That was great. That was great.
Yeah, there were a lot of high points in the movie for sure. For me, the biggest, far and away, completely stole the show in my opinion, was the Black Panther.
Yeah,
Oh,
he was
absolutely.
excellent.
So damn good.
Yeah.
That fucking character, everything about it was, I mean, it was just spot on. The suit was badass. Just the way that the guy played the character. I'm really looking forward to that movie as a
His solo
follow-up.
movie is going to be great. Well, they've added a couple people. Lupita Nyong'o. She's going to be like the major female lead in the movie,
Mhm.
and she's a hell of an actress. She's the one who did the voice for Maz Kanata in Force Awakens.
Right.
She's been in a few other things. She won an Oscar for something like legit. I don't remember what it was now, because it wasn't a comic book movie, so I didn't watch it. But
Supposedly it was legit. I don't know.
yeah, that's what they tell me. But yeah, no, she's really good. So I'm looking forward to that. And then Michael Johnson,
Michael
is
B.
that his
Jordan.
name?
Michael
The
B.
dude,
Jordan.
Michael B. Jordan. As opposed to Michael No Letter Jordan, he just plays basketball and does Hanes commercials.
Yeah.
Michael B. Jordan, wasn't he in
Human
Fantastic
Torch, yeah.
Four?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which
He
was
was
a hit,
he
by the
played
way.
Human Torch. He played Human Torch in the latest Fantastic Four movie.
How did he not get a Grammy
You know
And the
they're
last
fucking
guy to
talking
play
about doing
Human
Grammy?
Torch.
another.
and-
or an Oscar?
You know they're talking
Yeah,
about
that's
doing
right.
another Fantastic Four.
Really?
I'm sure
I
they're
thought they
going to
scrapped
keep the
that.
rights. Like,
Fuck.
might as well.
Ugh.
Don't let it go. Just keep.
You can't get as bad as the first one.
Well,
Another 10 years.
I just find it really amusing that that they're tapping him to play something in the Marvel Cinematic Universe after he played Human Torch, because the last guy who played Human Torch was Chris Evans, who
Captain
is
America.
now Captain America in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. So that seems to be the pathway to Marvel Cinematic
Yeah, right
Universe.
here.
Maybe that's
Fantastic
how he
Four.
plays-
Fantastic Four producer
For a Fox
wants to
movie.
reunite cast for brighter sequel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But a sequel would be not
Okay.
doing another one.
Yeah. So Pirate.
That
what
reminds
was-
me that I think that's out on HBO now. I need to watch
Oh,
that because I
fuck
still
that.
haven't seen it,
No, you don't.
just to see how bad it is.
Don't
What,
waste 2 hours of your life.
What were the parts of the movie that you enjoyed, Pirate?
Definitely Black Panther. The Ant-Man scene, like, you know, pretty much the whole every scene with Spider-Man in it, I enjoyed.
Yeah.
I thought that was just added, you know, such. I mean, it made it. I mean, there was comedy with it. You know, the whole scene where he's like flying
Spider-Man.
through the terminal and stuff like that, and yeah, fighting Bucky and Falcon.
I wonder if Zack Snyder was paying attention during the Spider-Man scenes, because you had Spider-Man, a new incarnation of him, in a movie, and they didn't show Uncle Ben dying, and yet in the conversations he kind of alluded to loss and, you know, the whole responsibility, great power thing without actually having to say it, and everybody knew what was going on, and it made the movie that much better that they didn't have to rehash it.
I bet we
You know,
still see it in the next. I
but
bet
we'll-
we still see
we'll
it in
still-
the Spider-Man movie.
In the Solo movie, probably, but, you know, like, we didn't have to watch Batman's parents die twice in this movie, so take notes, Zack Snyder.
Yeah.
Oh,
I
my
enjoyed
goodness.
the Spider-Man scenes too. I thought he did a really good job. I didn't care for Aunt May. I thought
Really?
in my opinion, I thought she was way too young. Just I don't know.
I mean,
just
not that
didn't really-
51 is old, but she's not, like, She's not
She
super
did not
young.
look 51 at all.
I mean, okay, she looks damn good for her age. I will give you that.
I mean,
but
she looked like
I
she was
mean,
in her 40s. Tops.
Oh, because she's fucking.
Like mid 40s.
I mean, like here's my thing about Aunt May. Like, if you're gonna have, if you're gonna, you know, a 16-year-old kid, and say if you're like, I have sisters.
Yeah, how old was your aunt when you were 16 or 17?
Yeah, like, you know what
My
I mean?
aunt was 30.
I'm just
Oh,
going
no.
on. I mean, I'm
Like,
not saying it doesn't. I'm
35.
not saying it's not possible or it doesn't like anything like that.
definitely
I'm
not.
just saying like I don't know. I think that Aunt May is, at least in my experience, and I'm probably wrong here because I don't read that much Spider-Man, but I'm used to Aunt May being an older figure in pretty much
No,
every
you are
depiction.
correct. You are correct. They pretty much always show her as older than that. But you also have to consider, if this is the launching point for a Spider-Man franchise that they're probably going to milk a number of movies out of over the next 10 years, you also can't have a super old Aunt May that won't be able to play the part still in 10 years.
Yeah, like
Well,
Tobey
that's-
Maguire.
You know, you're totally right about that, and they haven't invented makeup to make people look older than they are either.
You know, and that was actually, I brought that up the
Or
other day, and
CGI.
that was exactly, Pirate made that exact same point to me. He said, you know, he's like, Estelle Getty played the mother of the Golden Girls, but she was actually the youngest actress of the bunch. I'm like, I just got Golden Girls. I
Yeah,
Had to hit you with that Golden Girl knowledge.
Just seems like
And then
to
I was
me
like-
that would have been a better place, I don't know, to go.
and then I was like, holy shit. Why didn't they make Betty White Aunt May? How awesome would that have been?
That was
that would've-
that was the
that would've been
question
too
of the day.
distracting,
I had to ponder that
She's kind
one.
of delusional now, though.
So,
You can have a crazy Aunt May.
yeah, I mean, overall the movie was awesome. There's just some things that I really wish they would have done differently. I really enjoyed the movie, though. I mean, for sure, and I would say top 5 of the Marvel movies. The fight, like you mentioned, everything with Ant-Man, where he shrinks down and goes inside of Iron Man and then becomes Giant Man.
It's
The
your conscious. We
Huh?
haven't talked in a while.
Yeah.
Do what?
The one
The-
part
the
where he goes, "It's your conscience." We haven't talked in a while.
Oh yeah, yeah. There just so many good parts. This movie could have been like, it had the potential to be like an all-time classic, just monster badass movie, but they just fell short on some things. Like you said, Baron Zemo, like just Baron Zemo didn't even feel like a comic book villain. He didn't
No,
even, like
he
he
didn't.
just
Yeah, he didn't.
felt like a regular fucking dude. Like,
yeah.
it's kind of sad, to be honest. So that really,
With
you
his-
know,
with his
took away
pastry
from the
face.
gravity of the whole situation. Also, then that combined with the fact that there really wasn't much of a war to Civil War, also didn't, you know, kind of pulled away from the potential of the movie. I liked I liked how they brought Wakanda into it with the conference and the dying of the king, and all that. I thought that was a pretty clever way to introduce the Black Panther into the mix.
Kill somebody off that they're close to.
Well, I mean,
If we're not going to have Uncle Ben die, let's have somebody else
well,
die.
I mean, it makes sense. Like, that was about the only, like, I mean, if you think about it, like, your favorite character was Black Panther, and he was, like, really the only one that had a fucking legitimate reason to be fighting with the other guys. You know, like,
oh, I agree.
you know what I'm saying?
agree.
Like, he's really the only guy that had, like, a legitimately, like, you can identify with his motivation for wanting to be in this fight. Like, you can get it. There's some gravity to it. It you know, there's, that holds water. This other thing, this fucking, like, hey, we want to be able to tell you, you know, we need help over here in this part of the world, and you guys come help. Like Topher said, like, there's not really, is that really that big of a deal? Like, what's the UN going to do to stop you if you say no? Like, what the fuck? What are they going to do? Nothing. Not a goddamn thing. So it just, I don't know. Still a super, super good movie. Really watchable. I don't think it has like a ton of rewatchability though either. Like, I don't see this as one of those movies that you can just kind of watch over.
Whatever gumption to stick with that and to follow through on it, despite the fact that, you know, slapping Iron Man's face on everything is the way to appeal to mass audiences and sell shit these days.
Yeah,
you know, like, he is the face of the franchise, and
well, I think they're
you know, to
realizing
have him,
that he's not going to be forever. You know what I mean? Like, there's going to be a day and time when he's not.
This part
But instead of-
looked really old in this movie.
but until they get rid of it, or until he leaves, you know, until Robert Downey Jr. leaves or whatever, you know, they could give him some huge hero send off. They could have him die tragically, saving the world, and, you know, and then, like, you could still reference him in all the movies going forward and saying, you know, this is for Tony or whatever. You know, like, there's all kinds of stuff you could do with that, having him go out on a high note.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know, they're basically like dragging his character down and showing the negative aspects of it. You know, and I mean, he's still a hero, he is, but, you know, there are definitely some darker sides to Tony Stark's personality, and I think that it shows some real courage for them to follow through on that and show some of the decline in his character, despite the fact that, you know, it would be really easy for them to just hold him up as the frickin' ideal, you know, face of the franchise. You know, to do that with him, I just thought it stays fairly true to the character from the comics, and is also a fairly ballsy move for a studio.
Yeah.
There's one thing in there that I like that they do. They reference Iron Man 3 and kind of like do its ending justice, where he's talking about how he blew up when Steve brings up where's Pepper, and he's like, we're having a little break, and he goes on to explain how he blew up all the suits for her, but, you know, he couldn't quit. He just has to be Iron Man. He can't quit being Iron Man.
Mm-hmm.
I like that little thing. It makes Iron Man, it doesn't do justice for the whole movie, but it kind of like makes it so the ending's understandable, and why then suddenly he's back in Avengers after that.
Yeah, because he doesn't even suit up until
Avengers Age of Ultron.
Huh?
Avengers.
No, I mean in the movie.
Ultron. Yeah,
No,
he blows his suits up and he goes, oh, I am Iron Man. Iron Man is me, and then it ends.
But I mean, in this
Just like
movie,
what?
like, you never see him in the suit until the airport scene, other than that little wrist thing, that watch he's got where he has his hand.
Well, yeah.
But
Well, I think we're
That
all
just-
in agreement, though, that the movie was done well, even though there's obviously things that we would have liked to see that we didn't get a chance to see. But that being said, if you haven't seen the movie at this point, you've heard about most of it, but definitely worth seeing. I'm sure that probably everybody here is going to buy it on Blu-ray when it comes out. Yeah, but that's about it for this week. I'm Fox 2. We got Pirate,
have a good week.
Topher,
Have a good week.
and Brian.
Have a good week.